It looks like Jim Jones' relationship drama has reached a new level of toxic. Rumor has it that Jim went off on Chrissy Lampkin, and by off I don't mean a little. Jim Jones has just been placed in handcuffs. And guess what? The reason is going to leave your jaw on the floor. Hold up, Jim Jones? That's the same Jim who's been out here flexing, dropping bars, and dodging wedding bows like Neo in the Matrix. What actually happened? What did Chrissy do? Or even better, what did Jim do? Why is the internet going crazy over this? Oh, trust me, you're going to want to grab some popcorn because this tea is boiling. Let's get into it. Jim Jones and Chrissy. We're talking about a fuel-blown 911, seeing cop pulling and CFS faded seeing C has. But wait, wasn't Chai the one who pit a pock to him? It's true that Jim Jones has been arrested for allegedly attacking Chrissy Lampkin, and this isn't just some idle rumor. Witnesses, police reports, and even close sources are all stating the same thing. Lampkin, the reality TV couple that has kept fans entertained for more than 10 years, is now at the center of a scandal so wild it could shake the entire entertainment industry. This could be the last straw in their lengthy and messy relationship. Now, if you've been following their love story, you already know that these two have had their share of drama. From Chrissy proposing to Jim because he refused to commit to their intense arguments on reality TV. Their relationship has been anything but peaceful, but let's take a look at what actually happened this time. According to inside sources, it all began with a huge argument that got out of hand, and Chrissy had been fighting for days over something significant. At first, people assumed it was just another one of the usual arguments, but this time, neighbors said they heard shouting, glass breaking, and slamming like there was a full-on Hollywood drama taking place next door. And guess what? Sources say it wasn't just words being exchanged. Things got physical. This is where it gets crazy. According to some reports, Chrissy started the argument. The police report states that when officers arrived on the scene, Chrissy was visibly shaken and Jim was agitated and refusing to cooperate. Let's face it, this isn't Jim's first run-in with the law. We've seen his name appear in legal issues before, but this may be the worst one yet. What actually started this fight, though, because let's face it, nobody just snaps out of nowhere. It comes down to the fact that Jim has been having financial difficulties for years. He likes to brag about his lavish lifestyle, which includes expensive cars, flashy jewelry, and designer clothes. But the truth is that his financial situation isn't as stable as he would like people to think. Chrissy has enough people close to the couple to say that she has been keeping things together for years by making sure their bills are paid while Jim keeps up. Chrissy allegedly yelled during the argument, "Where's the money going? His rapper lifestyle." And this time she finally snapped and called him out on it. Jim wasn't having it. If you recall, this isn't the first time Chrissy has had problems with Jim's financial habits. Go back a few years, and you'll recall how she kept pushing him to be more responsible, invest in their future, and stop blowing money like he's still at the top of the rap game. He simply continued to do things his way. But this time when the police arrived, they weren't prepared for this degree of chaos. According to witnesses, Jim allegedly refused to calm down when officers attempted to defuse the situation, but he wasn't listening. One officer even allegedly asked Jim to go outside so they could investigate the situation. But Jim wouldn't have it, and began yelling at them, telling them they had no business in his house. Chrissy was standing there in shock, and according to one source, she never thought it would get this bad. The crazy part is that Chrissy didn't even call the police. Instead, the neighbors reported the disturbance because they were afraid something serious was happening. Jim is then arrested, which is where things get really messy. The police allegedly tried to calm Jim down, but when he continued to resist, they had no choice but to put him in. The internet is going to have a field day with Jim Jones, the man who is constantly talking about being untouchable, as he sits in a police station trying to figure out how the hell he got here. But the real question is, what does this mean for Chrissy? After years and years of putting up with Jim's nonsense, is this finally the breaking point? People are already divided. Some believe Chrissy should leave because this man won't change, while others believe she will stay because, let's face it, she has supported him through worse. However, let's face it, Jim is currently in legal trouble, and depending on how serious the charges are, this could have a significant negative impact on his career. If Jim is officially charged, we could be facing a protracted legal battle. One thing is certain, is going to be one of the biggest scandals to hit the entertainment world in a long time, and guess what? We're just getting started. let's jump right into part 2 of this crazy situation because remember, he already has a history with the law. Will Chrissy stay around to help him get out of this mess? Or is finally the end of the road for the couple who have been hanging on by a thread for years? And Chrissy was standing there in shock. The internet was going crazy. But this is where things really take a turn for the worse because now we have to talk about the fade-out. As you are all aware, the moment that mugshot was released, people began preparing Jim like it was Thanksgiving dinner, and there were memes, tweets, Instagram posts, and more, non-stop, and let me tell you, the responses were divided. On the one hand, people said that Chrissy should have left years ago and that she needed to run. While on the other hand, people said that this was just another one of their toxic arguments, and that they would get back together the following week. However, this is where things get really messy, because, keep in mind, this wasn't just a private argument that went out of control. It quickly escalated into a full-fledged criminal case. Following Jim's arrest, the police began their investigation, and that's when the leaks began. Anonymous sources purportedly from within the police department began contacting blogs. And let's just say that their information was not encouraging for Jim. One source stated that upon officers' arrival, they discovered evidence of a physical altercation. What does that mean? Well, reports indicate that Chrissy was hurt during the fight. Hold on, let's be clear that Chrissy herself hasn't filed any charges yet. But the problem with domestic cases is that the victim doesn't always have to do so if the police think they have enough evidence to pursue the case on their own. That's exactly what's happening here. So Jim may be in legal trouble. Let's now discuss what this means for Jim Jones' career because, chill, this could be bad. He's been in the business for decades, so he's seen the highs, lows, and everything in between. But let's face it, he's not as good at rap as he once was. In the modern world, a scandal like this could be the last straw, and sponsors, brand deals, and TV opportunities could all be found online. In addition, Jim has been working on real estate for years, starting various ventures, and attempting to stay relevant outside of the music industry. But if this case goes to trial and becomes a full-fledged legal battle, it could put everything in jeopardy. And let's not forget about the money. Let's face it, legal battles are costly, and bail lawyers and court fees add up. If Jim is already having financial difficulties, as some have suggested, this could be devastating. But here's where things take a turn for the worse because while Jim is sitting in jail attempting to determine his next move, Chrissy, she has been extremely quiet, making no statements or posting anything on social media. And if you know Chrissy, you know that's not her style. So, what's actually happening? According to some sources, Chrissy has been in discussions with her legal team to determine her next course of action because, as you may recall, isn't just about Jim. It's also about her reputation. For years, Chrissy has been attempting to distance herself from she has been working on projects, building her brand, and trying to show people that she is more than just a Jim Jones fan. However, she is currently embroiled in another scandal, and let's face it, this could be her way out because, as we all know, Chrissy and Jim never got married. She has been waiting for that ring for more than 10 years, and it doesn't seem like it will ever come. So now people as Jim deals with all of this, some old skeletons are beginning to come out of the closet. People are looking up past accusations, past legal issues, and even us regarding his behavior behind closed doors. You know, the internet doesn't forget anything. Are you wondering if she will finally walk away? Because, let's face it, if there was ever a time to do it, now is it. Rumors circulated about Jim's temper, with some claiming that he had a history of acting aggressively when things didn't go his way. Now, those same people are coming out of the woods to say, see, we're all here. This wasn't new, but the problem is that other celebrities are now getting involved, taking sides, and disparaging Jim. Some are even defending Jim, claiming that the media is blowing it. What's really going on is that some of Jim's own friends are not standing up for him, and people who used to be close to him are remaining silent. You know what they say when your own people don't stand up for you, and that speaks volumes. Others are saying that is just another instance of a toxic person in the industry being exposed. You know, when celebrities start taking sides, things get messy. Now, let's talk about the LL side of things are going to get complicated because the police are pursuing the case, and JY will need to hire a lawyer? Depending on the seriousness of the charges, he may face serious repercussions. In the best case, he may receive a fine and probation. In the worst case, he may face jail time. Let's face it, Jim is not prepared for that kind of life. If you recall, Jim has previously dealt with legal issues. But he's always the question now is how Jim gets out of this mess. Can he even fix this? And more importantly, does Chrissy even want to help him anymore? Because, let's be honest, she's been cleaning up his messes for years. Jim has managed to get out of trouble, but this time it might not be that easy because people are not playing around in these kinds of cases these days. And if the DA decides to make an example out of him, it could be bad. Things aren't looking good right now, but don't worry. There's still more to this story because just when we thought it couldn't get any crazier, new information just dropped, and you won't believe what's coming next. What's next? Will Jim lose? Will Chrissy finally leave? And most importantly, is this the end of Jim Jones as we know him? When we last left off, Jim Jones's situation had taken a completely different turn, and things were looking bleak. Chrissy was sitting in jail and was being far too quiet, and the entire industry was waiting to see what would happen next. However, some brand new information recently came to light, and it could be the last straw for JY because, guess what? Chrissy is done. Yes, you heard that right. Waiting for a wedding that never happened. Chrissy is finally leaving after dealing with drama, according to sources close to her. They say this was her breaking point because she is tired of cleaning up his mess, tired of fighting the same battles over and over. And, most importantly, tired of looking foolish in front of the world. But, listen, this isn't just a cooling off period. According to reports, Chrissy has already begun discussing a separation with her lawyers. Her finances from Jim's are a big deal because, as you may recall, these two are not married but have many business relationships. So if Chrissy is making sure her money is safe, it means she's done. However, the most bizarre part is that she's not just leaving the gym. She's leaving the city altogether. According to sources, Chrissy is looking at homes in Miami and has been contacting real estate agents. She is planning her next chapter without Jim. Now, let's discuss what this means for Jim because, let's face it, his life would be completely different without Chrissy. For years, she has kept him in check and ensured that he didn't go out of control. Now that she is gone, Jim is going to realize how much he truly needed her. But wait, this story is far from over because, even as Jim deals with all of this personal drama, his legal issues just even worse. You all recall how the police were already pursuing the case, and now they've upgraded the charges. Initially, he was considering a simple domestic dispute charge, but now he faces F charges because prosecutors seem to have taken this more seriously after new evidence surfaced. They haven't disclosed the specifics of that evidence, but some people claim that surveillance footage from their home may have captured the Jim is in serious trouble because, let's face it, when there is video evidence, there is no wriggling out of it. It gets worse because a DG has now formally placed a restraining order against him, which means he cannot go near Chrissy, contact her, or even attempt to make things right. If he does, he could face even more jail time. But let's talk about the business side of this because some of Jim's longtime friends and business partners are gradually withdrawing, unfollowing him on social media, and acting as though they never knew him. You already know what that means. No one wants to go down with the ship in the music industry, and when you start losing your connections, that's how you know it's bad, because, hey, remember how I said that some of Jim's own people were staying quiet? Well, now they're actively DDing themselves. Even though Jim was still respected and had a name, he wasn't exactly at the top of the rap game anymore. Instead, he was more focused on other business endeavors. And now that they are in G-Party brands, investors don't want their names linked to a possible domestic abuser. And people are already beginning to back out of deals with Jim. One of his biggest real estate projects, as well as a possible TV deal. Let's not forget that Jim was attempting to re-enter the love and hip-hop scene. But there is no way that Mona Scott Young will do so after this, because, let's face it, the genre thrives on drama, but they add it trying to get involved in something this messy. Now, let's talk about the public's reaction, because, as you are all aware, the internet has been consuming this content, including memes, Twitter threads, and in-depth discussions of Jim's past. Jim's reputation is undoubtedly suffering, and it's not just the internet that's talking. Other celebrities are beginning to weigh in as well. 50 Cent, couldn't resist, and he already threw some shade on Instagram. Let's just say that people have open hands. Some people are saying that it's good for Chrissy that she should have left him, while others are defending Jim and claiming that this is just another instance of the media trying to discredit a black man. Essentially making fun of Jim for being imprisoned and saying, I told you this guy was messy, but it's not just his enemies who are speaking out. Some of his own African indies are also attempting to counsel him. According to reports, Cameron and Joel Santana are telling Jim to keep quiet and stop talking because he will only make things worse if he doesn't. However, you know Jim. He isn't the type to keep quiet, and now there are rumors that he is planning to do a full interview as soon as he is released from prison, a sit-down interview where he will give his side of the story. However, the question is, will people even be able to reach Eli through him at this point? Let's face it, no matter what he says, the mugshot, reports, and restraining order are already public. So even if he tries to fix this, the damage is already done. The big question now is, will Jim ultimately wind up in prison? Will Chrissy move on and begin a completely new life without him? And most importantly, is this the end of Jim Jones' career? Let's face it, he may have survived previous scandals, but this one could be the one that brings him to his knees. Trust me, though, this story is far from over because you already know there will be more twists, turns, and drama. So stay tuned because this situation is about to get even seas. This story is crazy, and it's only getting worse. By the time Chrissy, LMP is in jail, business deals are collapsing, and the entire industry is abandoning him. Is this really the end for Jim Jones? Or is he going to make the biggest comeback we've ever seen? And let's not forget, do you guys think Chrissy is done with him for good this time? Or is this just a passing fad? Another one of those situations where they split up today and reunite the following week because, let's face it, we've seen this happen before. However, one thing is certain, Jim is in serious trouble and may not be seeing freedom anytime soon if these felony charges are upheld. What do you guys think? Should Chrissy have broken up with him years ago? Is she making a mistake by walking away? Please share your opinions in the comments section because I know you have thoughts on this one, and remember to like, subscribe, and enable notifications because, Bobby, we're not done with this story yet. There will be more updates, and I promise you don't want to miss what occurs next.